social media erupted with Afghans accusing Pakistan of giving their airfields and saying that we saw aircraft flying. So they've given their airfields. They are accusing Pakistan that on the one hand, common Pakistanis are entering the consulates of America, calling them shaitan, dying in the protests, and on the other hand, their rulers are giving the airfields. Not confirmed as yet whether that happened.
But so that's the whole point of Pakistan, Smita. They have always punched above their weight, right? I mean, this is Pakistan punching above their weight. The entire thing of having inking a security pact with Saudi Arabia, giving them some sort of a nuclear umbrella, saying stuff like, very filmy stuff like, we'll come to your rescue and we'll protect you if you are under, attack. I mean, today they are under attack. So this, even back then when this entire thing had happened, I said, listen, don't buy the optics of Pakistan really signing something so grand, with Saudi Arabia. This is not going to see the light of the day. I think Pakistan should be studied for other reasons. That I keep saying, how Pakistan has sort of, gotten into the defense industry lines, and, like how Pakistani pilots are flying the Qatari jets, etc., how they are sort of they've become a revolving door between Turkey on the one hand, China on the other hand, Azerbaijan on the other hand, and also this entire region, the Gulf region. So that is something that makes Pakistan an interesting case study. I don't think Pakistan has any kind of sort of ability to really extend their nuclear umbrella to Saudi Arabia or their protection, because, I mean, you see, Saudi Arabia is very much under attack right now, and Pakistan has only been able to do lip service. Okay, so I don't think it was ever meant to be taken seriously. It's just that pata chal gaya bahut jaldi. I mean, they've always punched above the weights. That's one. Second is that this particular problem.
So they're not the net security provider to any country.
No. I don't think they can be a net security provider. Okay, if you look at their doctrines, right? So they also have a concept of net security partners, net security provider. So they also do in their sort of collaboration with the CMF led operations, etc., etc. They have also somewhere seized some drugs and boats and some piracy, stuff like that they have done. But they simply don't have the ability, to really be a net security provider or a partner.
But the aircraft are there, no? So that aircraft can be sent across? Why not?
So, well, I mean, that's there, but I don't expect Pakistan really to do anything there. But coming back to the problem between Pakistan and Afghanistan. Now, the Pakistan and Afghanistan problem, their so-called Durand line and all that stuff, that has been under a lot of, I would say, massive violence for months now, right? In fact, just tonight, I'm going to be speaking to actually somebody from that, not from that region, actually he's London-based, but he's focusing on, this entire Pakistan-Afghanistan thing to better understand what is really the end point and what is the end game, what is happening, etc. But coming back, this is not something which was started because the Americans and the Israelis were I mean, I find this connection a bit too far-fetched because this has been going on. Pakistan and Afghanistan, especially under Taliban, because Taliban are no longer, So
it's not to keep the Baloch busy so that they don't go in the aid of Iran.
As far as the Baloch are concerned, right? I mean, the Baloch people, there is a Baloch separatism, right? But the Baloch separatism also needs to be understood better because it's like Kurds. Okay, so Baloch are not just in Pakistan. The Baloch are also there in Afghanistan, and then there are Baloch in Iran. So if you are thinking about the Baloch nationalism, and they also operate differently. So the Baloch in, for example, Pakistan are very separatist by nature, but the Baloch populations in Iran are very Sunni in nature because there they are fighting the Shia sort of, power brokers and all the clerics and everybody is Shia. So the nature is also a little different, and it's. If we are talking about like a greater Baloch, then we are talking about destabilizing these three regions for that. So that is not a very clear-cut binary, as we sometimes think of sitting in New Delhi. That is just so they have a different set of, I mean, they have a common identity, but when it comes to their bread and butter or something, and also the borders are pretty porous, so there already is a lot of, I would say, smuggling which is happening across borders. It's pretty much like the Kurds, right? So because the Kurds are not really situated in one country, part of them are in northern sort of, in parts of Syria, in Iraq, in Turkey, here and there. Similarly, it's the Baloch, right? So they have their own shadow economies. They are used by the power brokers to sometimes stabilize the situation, sometimes destabilize the situation. So they are also sometimes pawns in the larger game. So I don't find, or I have not found very solid links, right, to really say that with confidence that perhaps this has a subtext there. But having said that, I mean, whether Pakistan is going to be playing a role, no. Pakistani elite, as far as the Grand Field Marshal and whatever his rank is now. I mean, I don't know. He just keeps
Super
going.
Field
Yeah,
Marshal.
the Super Field Marshal. I don't know
The
whatever.
favorite Field Marshal. I just call him a cupcake. Huh.
Yeah, so I don't know what. I mean, he would always do something to please the Americans. They have always offered themselves, right? That please come and use us, right? And that makes us relevant in the geopolitics of the subcontinent and etc.
So they'll give the airfields if they have been repaired by now.
Yeah. If they've been repaired by now, okay. So we also keep hearing that the Afghans have also targeted a lot of Noor Khan and all. They've been targeted again.
But do you think the Afghans have the capacity to damage an airfield in Pakistan?
Well, okay, so Afghanistan, conventionally speaking, the Afghan, so whatever their, they have some leftover Americans weapons, they have smuggled Russian weapons, etc. They are not a match for Pakistani Air Force, frankly, I mean, it would be too far-fetched. ठीक है, वो कभी-कभी, just for the laughs, we do sort of say these things, but they don't have the capabilities, right? And if you see also, there has been so many statements coming from the Taliban, different officials that say, okay, we want to talk and this and that. But it's a very, very, up in the flames region right now. I mean, look at all these countries share borders, right? So from us, right, we share a border with Pakistan. Pakistan is at war with Afghanistan. Afghanistan and Pakistan both share a border with Iran. Iran is at war with the rest of the, Gulf countries. So it's absolutely, this is one straight line of violence, okay?
Yeah.
So to my mind, I think what we really need to worry about is that how does then, the radical elements, right? What kind of a free run would the radical elements get? Okay, if this was to really go out of hand and if this really were to get uncontrolled and escalate in a manner in which we have not really predicted, because right now we are just looking at, is there going to be a regime change? Is there going to be something close to a regime change? But if it's this kind of instability, right?
Mini conflicts, quasi conflicts, proxy conflicts.
Always. A lot of frozen conflicts, right?
Yeah.
I mean, now recently, just today morning, I was reading some analysis of how the Israelis, because the Israelis are also desperate to finish it, right? I just told you that for Bibi Netanyahu, this is also, I mean, this is going to be the legacy that he's going to leave behind, right? This is going to be the legacy of his life. So even for him, right? I mean, he might again then do something funny from the Azeri border, because yes, the Israelis have capabilities at the Azeri border, I mean, the Israel and Azerbaijan are also very close, because it's not just about energy security.
That is there too. Yeah.
It's not just energy security that Azerbaijan provides to Israel. Israelis also sell their drones and also their, Iron Dome and stuff like that to Azerbaijan. So they also have a different relationship. And why? Because they want strategic depth in Iran. Remember, Israel and Iran are very, very far apart. You have the entire Gulf region spreading in between, okay? So that is why they maintain that with Azerbaijan, because they want strategic depth.
Namaste, Jai Hind. You're watching ANI podcast with Smita Prakash.
अगर हम उसको मस्जिद कहेंगे तो फिर विवाद होगा.
The issue is, टूटा है क्या भारत?
400 पार का मतलब ये है कि संविधान खतरे में है.
क्या हम लोग ये निर्देश देते हैं कि फला को गिरफ्तार करके जेल डाल दें?
वही तो कह रहे हैं सब.
ये बेबुनियाद निराधार आरोप.
सच्चा सुनना चाहो देखो स्मिता प्रकाश ANI. It does not lie.